I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna gather you.
Sorry, kids. I know, I'm sorry.
We do have a forum, everybody's here today, call for any other business items. No. I will accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Wait,
Oh.
discussion.
Oh, sorry. Any discussion?
I would just like to request that on the agenda that we have this week, that the day of the week remain on that heading. Because sometimes it's on a Tuesday.
Oh, I see what you're saying up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
So, no, they have.
Exactly. Okay. All of those in favor with Jamie's addition?
Aye.
Fine.
Anybody opposed? Perfect. All right, so we will jump on into the department report. So the police department is up first.
Okay, so as you know, we have a new officer, Karen Carter, he's doing very well. His car has been outfitted now completely with a sector, ticket writing system. We had to take out the old system when we went in, and he's written several tickets so far, so we're really pleased about that. We continue to work on the evidence room. I'm just gonna kind of paraphrase what we're doing here. Let's see. We have once again met the requirements by the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission. As far as the mandated training that was complied with, it'll be the second year in a row. They'll send a certificate out here pretty soon. We attended the Winlock Cub Scouts meeting, which was very interesting. Had a good time over there. Kind of an older building. Has anybody ever been out there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's an older building. They have a fire pit right in the middle.
Yeah.
So they asked Karen and I to come out there and talk about historical issues and then also safety issues with the law enforcement. So we had a really good time meeting the kids and talking to them about that. We attended what's called Safety City, and that was over at the Ritchie Brothers. That's comprised of all the departments coming together and walking the kids. We were there when Toledo was there. We were walking through Safety City, talking about community issues like crosswalks, railroads, that type of thing. So that was really good. We will probably be working with the school district on applying for a school zone grant. And if awarded this grant, they're looking at the funding to apply for resources right at the hill in front of the Toledo Middle School. When you come up that hill, that it's kind of blind. So we're gonna work on signage and stuff like that. What else? We have our radar units all recertified and calibrated, so that's good. I've got a radio going on here too. So. We have a couple cases that we're working on. Our stats for the month we're sitting at about 41. Those will be higher next month as Taryn continues to write citations. So when I'm not here on weekends, Taryn is here and he's working later shifts. So pretty excited about it. Did you mention your laptop? Yes, I have a new laptop. I forgot to mention that. So, but thank you for that. We have it actually we have it in the car. We just can't get it completely up and running yet. So working with that's probably why I didn't mention it. It's not functioning. Excellent. Any other questions? What?
Your
Hang on a second. Go ahead.
your heading for your report still says the month of August 2023.
Oh, really? It does.
If you can insert a date field in there instead.
Where is that at?
Bottom of page 2.
right before your stats.
Oh, okay, yeah, typo, I can do that, fix.
Yeah, well, if you insert a date field, then it will prompt you to fill it in instead of leaving it the same month.
Now, where is that at, Jamie?
Right before your stats,
I'm on page 2.
Bottom of page.
Oh.
Toledo Police Department responded to the following incidents for the month of,
Oh, yeah, I see.
and I know you're a stickler for accuracy, so
Yep.
I just thought I'd fill you in on that.
Anything else?
Okay, we will move on to City Hall.
I have been working on the quotes for the codification. I got a couple people I'm waiting to hear back from. I should have something in about 2 weeks. I've spent a lot of this week getting Taryn and the chief set up with Sector and Spillman. We had to get the tough book installed in the PD car. Went to the Wiggle Stop meeting with Joe and we learned how to do reimbursements and a couple of changes with how they want to see things come in. They're just mostly looking for a procurement policy now instead of the 3 quotes, which really helps us out. And I've also been working on a procurement policy. We've got a resolution written up for the small works roster, which takes a whole lot of work off of the office staff. We'll be having the resolution come out mid-month, hopefully with a finished procurement policy also. I've been learning some of the PD clerk tasks now that we've got tickets coming out. I moved 200K over to the LGIP account, and for some reason on like the 2nd of February, we had like 6 public records come in. So I've been working with Carly and training her on some of those and then answering the rest of them. And I've emailed some of you guys. I need, I've heard back from Rebecca and Emily and Eric. So I've an email in there. You guys can check it out because I need some information on one of my public records. And then I submitted the state archive grant for records management for $20,000. So we should hear back from that in May. Hopefully we got it because that would be super helpful. That's it.
So public records requests, I know we had one of them that hit our lawyer, which cost us money. Should we be considering a policy or some such that if your public records request is going to require us to go get research
So it
information
shouldn't
from the
ever
lawyer?
require us to go to the lawyer. I reached out to the lawyer just as like a, hey, I wasn't here. I was told that there was something in 2017. Do you know anything about that? But we are only responsible for our records. So yeah, that was on me, but yeah, that's crazy.
Good.
An email cost us $50 or something like that, yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
All right, we will move on to the Public Works. Public Works was excused from tonight's meeting as we are currently down to the one. Looks like we've got the written report. So Mike Fisher's last day was the 31st. Leaves Public Works Department down to 1 individual currently, until the new person is hired, which we're looking pretty good there. Several applications were received, 2 candidates were scheduled for interviews. In the meantime, John is attempting to tie up any loose ends, keeping the water and watershed on a maintenance status. Yep. Digester 1 has been emptied and will undergo visual inspection and cleaning. That is all they had for Public Works. Is there any questions for Public Works that I can pass along?
Yeah, has John accepted the responsibility for the department then? Because I know previously he was.
We're not going to be
Yeah.
running with the
Flat.
superintendent.
Yeah, we're not gonna do a superintendent, we're gonna flatten it across the board for the entire department. He'll be the supervisor and he'll be doing the training, but he does not have any desire to be the superintendent, and we're not gonna push him and make him quit.
That actually ties in really well with the question slash suggestion I was going to make while Dwayne was speaking. Would be kind of cool if we could see the rest of the employees coming, so maybe they could take turns. And then that way it wouldn't be John being superintendent. We could have some time where maybe on the mid-month when we don't have a full status, we could have our,
New hire.
our new hires, yeah, each of our new hires come in or whatnot. That'd be kind of cool. So we get some FaceTime with them.
Yeah.
Have a relationship.
Definitely. Right,
So not having a superintendent, does that meet with, the
Requirement.
Yes,
requirements?
it does, because the requirements are, was it water two and,
Yeah, their certification.
yeah, the certifications, and John carries those certifications. He does not have to be the superintendent, he just has to be this, have the certifications, which he does.
Okay,
Yeah.
but in respect to government,
We're covered, yeah, yes. Any other questions? All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to council reports. So for me, not a whole lot, I went, or I guess I didn't go with, Emily and I met with Amy Buzzard and Todd Chapeau from the Economic Alliance to discuss working on funding for the exposed water main, so they're working on putting together, what we need to get them to work forward for grants, plus or minus, discussing if a loan is something that would be working, but they're really headed for looking for a grant to cover it. I did do an exit interview with Mike Fisher and got a very good thorough tour of the wastewater treatment plan. Kind of gave me a better handle on what parts are critical down there, what parts we really need to be watching for breaking. Things of, you know, they're like, hey, they're really old, we need to maybe start looking at backups for those. We did complete interviews for the open public works position. We did make a final decision at the end of last week. The gentleman that was offered the position came in this evening, got all of his paperwork, and he is scheduled to start tomorrow at 8 AM. So I'm hoping to have him at the next meeting so we can formally introduce him to everybody. But yeah, fingers crossed all goes well. Once he is up and trained, we'll then start looking for a second part-time person to come in and help them out also. And not much other than that to report. Any questions for me? Nobody?
let me think for a minute.
You have a question for everybody else and feeling left out.
Yeah. You said you're gonna get 2 people?
We're currently hiring a full-time one. That's the gentleman that we just offered the job to tonight that accepted. So once he is fully trained or mostly trained, we'll hire a part-time person to come in that'll work just a couple days a week to help do a lot of the little stuff, like the maintenance on the streets and things of that nature, mowing the lawns, things like that.
How come John or Mike didn't have somebody to get up it?
That I was prior to me coming in, I know that he had, I believe there was a budget for a summer hire. But because of the salary difference, we have more salary to work with to be able to have a second person. The people that we interviewed are coming in pretty much green and we're training them from the ground up. So it gives us a lot more budget to work with to hire that second person in. Any more questions?
I'd like to add to that response. He was offered summer help and never took us up on it. We allotted the funds for it.
He chose to not come to the meeting. He did not come to the meetings.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
So we will move on. Emily?
Let's see. Yes, I was at the meeting with you as well. So I believe that she was looking at the drinking water, safe revolving fund. And then, also piggybacking onto some sort of emergency replacement grant or capital infrastructure grant. So basically, hopefully Toledo would be paying no money. That's what we're hoping for. Because we're looking at more than, well, almost $2 million at least to move and replace our water main. Which is more than our citizens can pay for at the moment. Let's see. Do I have anything else? I don't think so. I think that was it. I think that was the main deal. So,
So is there any reason that we can't get Joe at least one meeting a month to come and give us an update on
You mean John?
Joe?
Joe.
She's right here,
she's right there.
Oh, she always comes. Whenever she does, I think she, yeah.
Didn't know you wanted me to. I feel so wanted.
Yeah, because we've had questions for you previously
Oh, okay.
and we're here, so
Okay,
it'd
good.
be nice to have an update.
So Amy Buzzard is, one of the contacts, that is up, at the Economic Alliance. Who's working with Hot Shopping up there, and she wanted to ask us the businesses, how many businesses would be affected, how many households would be affected in the city. She had a whole bunch of questions that, she basically had a worksheet for us that we needed to fill out. And so on my way home from that meeting, I went and asked the school district, you know, how many people would be affected, and they said about 1,000 families. And then, the doctor's office, they said about 50 families a day would be affected, so. And that's just two places, so, you know, that kind of information is really key to drive home that point. Anyways, moving on.
Can I go back to you? Because I did have another question for
Yes, you
you.
may.
So, we're waiting till the new guy gets trained up before we even look for that part-time person.
So when my goal is when he's about 75% of the way trained, we'll start looking for a second one. I just didn't want to throw two brand new green people at John. And really make it so that he had no time to actually do the work that needed to be done. So yeah, but we won't wait until he's 100% before we start looking. Feel
Okay,
like
yeah.
75% is pretty good, where John's mostly hands-off and he can start training with the second one.
Yeah, because what I've seen so far is that it's hard to get people in here.
It is, yeah, and I had chatted with an individual from one of the water. I can't remember what it was now, but he said that right now, water and wastewater are in high demand, and there's just not enough people to fill the open positions across the board. So, yeah, we'll definitely start looking well in advance.
I'm done.
Okay. Eric?
Let's see, I did the RCO walkabout, the RCO came down, Joe facilitated that for us to look at what Toledo had going on. And we got to go look at the school, did a drive through the park, went and looked at the ball fields, and then talked a little bit about the sewer plant, or water sewer plant and the land down there.
Can you tell us what RCO stands for?
No, I can't.
It's under the Washington State Fish and Wildlife, and it's called Recreation Conservation Office.
Thank you.
That's what it is, right? I did a couple wastewater and water webinars and spent a few hours at the plant.
You can taste the bleach, Eric. I'm kidding.
Any questions for him?
Will you be participating in the training of the new person?
That's what John wants. Right now, I'm relieving him of weekends, so he doesn't have to come out on weekends. By few, I meant 80 or so last month. So the new guy will come up to speed pretty quickly. It's a quick learn. But I do agree with Jamie that looking sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Especially as we come in getting near cheese days, it'd be nice to have somebody that's here for a couple months by then or a month or so.
Yeah. Rebecca.
I attended the Toledo Neighbors Southern meeting thing, and I'm always amazed at what a great program they've got going, and they work together so well, and just it gets bigger and bigger, and they're serving more and more people.
I took one of the online AWC courses called Budgeting with an Equity Lens. That was interesting, geared mostly for a larger city, but there was a couple of nice tips on how to incorporate the community with surveys and things, so I'll do a little more study on that. And then I went and saw the Lion King live. That was really great. But on a serious note, I will not be physically here at the next meeting. I've been talking with Cindy about how to do Zoom, so I'm hoping I'll be participating on my phone. And that's it.
So you're not coming to the workshop either.
Hopefully I'll be there in spirit and on my phone.
Can you send me the link for the AWC one?
Sure.
Yeah, watch that one. Any questions for Rebecca? Kathy?
I have nothing to report.
That was an easy one. Do you have anything for us tonight, Jamie?
Well, I made a trip to Oregon for my oldest sister's 80th birthday. Big family bash, and I can report that they have way more snow than we do. And that's about it.
Where did you go?
Hood River,
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful there.
as long as the snow is on the side.
It's not on the road. Exactly. All right, so we'll move on to committee reports. I don't see anybody here from planning commission. Did you hear anything at all? There's nothing to report, nothing, okay. All right, and anybody from the park board? Does anybody want to speak on behalf of the park board?
Nothing.
Nothing, okay. All right, we do not have any public hearings tonight. We do have a special presentation from Toledo Fire. So we'll turn the floor over to you guys to kind of just discuss a little bit about what your vision is.
Sure. Well, before our little agenda item, I did want to make kind of an update and a formal introduction. Recently, Mike Dorothy has stepped down and resigned as the fire chief for Toledo. And myself was actually recently appointed to the position by our fire commissioners. My name is Chris Davidson. Been a volunteer here for the last 9 years and assistant chief to Dorothy. So part of a succession plan, but things are happening a little bit faster than he had originally planned. So and we're going to be doing some formal announcements. This is all very fresh and very new. But the reason why we're here, the Toledo Fire Department is working on a capital needs assessment. We're in early conversations internally about this, and we're actually going to start going through the bid process to start talking to consulting firms to come in and help us with that. Our primary focus is, of course, to establish impact fees, something we've never had. And with all the new development going in, we already understand we're a little bit behind the 8 ball. And so we're, going to be moving really quickly to start establishing that. With that, we understand there's a lot of facilities planning and things that are part of that. This is why in our early internal discussions, we came down to talk with our mayor to see if there was any interest in also evaluating a much larger plan to look at a total city services facility. We understand the position you're in with this building. We've heard, you're bringing in contractors and stuff to take a look at, the facility itself. And so with our early conversations with some of these firms, they've mentioned that there's, definitely larger opportunity for grants and funding and things of that nature when you have rural communities looking at, combined facilities, right? Police, fire, city services as one, and this might be something, worthwhile. We know that the needs assessment is probably going to be very specific to each of us, right? As they come in to establish what our needs, wants are. We're going to be moving very rapidly on the fire side, so we can at least establish our report for the impact fees. But what we're here to talk with you and to basically get an idea of any interest, whether or not this is something that we want to maybe join in this adventure so that we can take a look at this from a larger scope of work.
Well, I know personally, I've been on council for 5, almost, this will be my 6th year. And I've seen this building go downhill and there's been no maintenance on it whatsoever, except, no, none. And as wonderful as a I'm just speaking my mind here, guys, sorry. As wonderful as a building, as it is, and as historic as it is, it certainly isn't cutting the mustard. And so we do have a historic grant out right now. It's not necessarily something that we have to use, but sure would be nice to have a nice building, you know, one that could really service all of the needs of the community. That could, you know, have all of the services that are up to date, you know, and not funky, you know? So that's just what I'm saying, so. How does everybody else feel about that?
I think working together sounds like a good idea, to at least brainstorm together and see what.
And with the addition of more homes as Cowlitz Meadow starts building, obviously that's going to put a strain on everything and needs to be considered. And with the city and the county fire departments there, yeah, we're looking at having to do something.
Absolutely, yeah, which is why we're looking to really try to get ahead of that. We know with, you know, potential of another 300 homes, and that's not gonna be the last development, right?
No.
Once that gets started, it's gonna continue to grow. And already we're at complete capacity. We've got no more room for additional ambulances. We're already with 2 full-time firefighter, paramedics and EMTs. We have no more sleeping quarters. We're just, there's no more room. We can't go up, we can't go out. The building is at max capacity, and so that's why we're looking to establish the impact fees. So that quickly we could start collecting dues to get ahead of this, so that if there is a chance for expansion, we could start collecting funding to do that, because we know we're gonna then eventually need to add a 3rd ambulance and an additional crew to man that, so. Our original conversation was to come down, we know that there is the 2 lots owned by the city behind us. That was our thought, that, you know, potentially looking to buy that, because of course. If we're looking to expand, we would need to go that direction, and that's when it was mentioned that you might need it yourselves. Even for temporary housing, if there was something to happen to this building, and so that's when the conversation moved to, well.
Combined.
If we look at a combined facility, we could go much larger, meet our needs and potentially. It may be that the needs assessment comes back, and what they'll do is they'll provide us multiple options, not only. You know, what is the feasibility and the costs to expand in place? Or it may very well mean that our only option for our growth needs specifically is to relocate. That being the case, it may open the opportunity where this facility is a better fit for you with some retrofit modification. That's part of what they will do. They will do a much larger plan so that the community has something to review. All of us have something to review. Your cost benefit analysis to say, you know, it's worth it for both of us to get new buildings, relocation, whatever the case may be. That's what they're going to provide as part of this. So.
I think it's a great idea. The police department supports it, both venues that you're talking about. And just, if I may, on the record, if we end up going up there and having a bigger multi-use facility, which would be great. That's one option, and the other one is like you get your own, and we get that one up there.
Exactly.
This building right here could be the youth center.
If it's
Make it so.
Make it so #1. Yeah.
Because that's the #1 gripe with the youth, is they don't have a place to go and come in and play games, or, you know,
It's a heritage building too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect. We can make it work for them.
We're on Brandon Osborne's schedule. Do you know what that?
I'm waiting to hear back from him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
That's
supposed
pretty
to.
imminent.
So I just want that on the record that,
Yeah.
I think this would be a
Yeah.
great youth center.
Would agree with it. Did he give you any timeline at all, Rachel, on?
He said he would get back with me at the end of the week with a date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this is grant season, so
Can we sit down
kind of need
Need
to
to
set
set
them
Oh, absolutely.
started.
and let us?
Yeah, I'll reach back out to him tomorrow and see what I can't find out, because it was supposed to be
Yeah.
By Friday, I was supposed to hear from them, so it's.
Well, isn't there restrictions on that grant that we don't get to raise it? If we utilize that, we do not get to raise this building.
We would be able to if it's deemed unsavable. I think there's no problem with that, but generally they want it to stay for the purpose, so the city would own it. City would own it.
We would, yeah, we wouldn't raise it, we would just, if we could,
If we can save
if the
it,
stars aligned, do something with
but
it.
it's gonna take you some time for this needs.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's gonna be years down the road. Where are we gonna get funding for that? At the top of my head, I don't know, you were saying needs district, but I don't know of any grants for a combined anything like that.
There are a
City
few out
tax.
there, yeah, that we're aware of. I think Arbano has one right now, which has, as stated on there, better probability of being awarded for a combined facility, but it's definitely, the initial push was for fire services.
Okay.
But there are a few out there, and of course, they're not gonna want to hear word one from us unless we actually have a plan and a full assessment of what our needs are, so that's why we're trying to get ahead of
And that's the
this.
same thing with this building here, that's the same situation.
So
Nobody's
you
done
have
anything for us.
So our building assessment would do well with your.
It could, yeah, as far as if, yeah, absolutely, once they come in, they're gonna look at the whole picture,
Yeah.
right, everybody's needs. They're gonna look at your lack of garages and the fact the cars are parked
The cats
outside.
that live in the back.
Whether this is, yeah, the huge office you have. Yeah, all of those things.
And
so.
if there is anything that we can do to help you guys, definitely let us know. And I know when we had talked, there isn't another area around here that has a combined. I think we would be the forefront of that, which might get some other places to be like, hey, that's a great idea. Let's maybe make better use of our available space in town.
Yeah, we've had one conversation with the firm, and now we know we need to go out to bid to do an official, bring in other firms that do this nature of work. And, we just need to understand whether or not, we want to include this as a scope of work, or we're just really gonna focus on the fire services. So that's what we're looking for tonight, is just to know if we've got a consensus that this makes sense. It's not that we have to act on it, right? It may come back that it's unattainable for a portion or what have you, but at least if it makes sense, we can get ahead of this and include it so they can start that assessment.
I'm glad you all are looking at impact fees.
Sorry.
I asked for that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We're, the city has our UGA, so we've used up our UGA, and as our UGA grows, it's going to be out towards Texas 63.
Right.
And you're also down the hole in the floodplain, it's like, so I think that's something for you all to think about too, is there's a really nice triangle up at Mondon and,
We saw that,
it's got nice exits out all directions, especially headed up
It's
63.
accessible here to town, the new developments, everything.
Yeah,
right?
so
It's centrally.
As much as we like, not sure.
There's a for sale sign on that saying
There
it's
is.
24 lots available.
For residential, and it's also on commercial.
That's
Multi zoning.
the Sorensen Triangle is on commercial.
I think that's where it should be. is
Yeah.
up there.
That's why,
Down here, I think it should be up there.
Yeah, because if they tell us the flood's coming, all your gear's down here.
know.
And it's gone.
It would be nice if we were a safe haven for everyone to get to.
Yeah.
Us not have to worry about our equipment, we can just be quick to action for our residents, absolutely. It would make sense.
We're not on the record talking about.
No, we're just blue sky.
Yeah.
Totally.
So from the council, is that something that you guys would be interested in, is a joint venture with them if that's where we go?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I would actually like to see a workshop with you guys so we could kind of suss out what our different needs are and whether or not that would be possible.
I'm on the, I wouldn't rule it out.
Pardon?
I wouldn't rule it out. There's definitely a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Okay, and thank you for bringing this to council, Chief, but they
Absolutely.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, yeah, it sounds like that's something that we would be interested in. I'll come up and get with you guys. I'll give you a little bit of time, but yeah. Get your feet under you. I know how that feels.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's anything that we can do to help you guys out, let us know. Thank you guys for coming. All right, do we have any public comments on the agenda items?
I approached Emily with the, I didn't know if you were gonna, I mean, you didn't mention it, so.
Oh, I sent it to the
Oh,
mayor
did you?
already,
Okay,
yes.
all right. Are we gonna go through that, do we think?
Um,
We can try for it?
well, it's, so it needs to be talked about at the park board. And then it has to be kicked back up here and then we can say yes or no.
Okay.
So it's a process, so,
But yes.
but yes. Ultimately,
Ultimately.
yes, ultimately, yes. We're talking about, yeah. Parts. So Joe sent, there's a list of parts to replace the broken parts
Oh, okay.
on the equipment. We have a grant that yours truly, let's go get. And I thought that it would be a good idea, and so did Joe, that we could use that grant because it is a safety grant for those parts. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, after we meet with park board, so we'll get back to you, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason nobody heard that part of anything is because they would not get back to me in time for it met, no deadlines. But they're the only company we can go through because it has to come from the existing equipment from the original purchaser. Does that make any sense? To make it safe, I can't get the parts from somebody else. I have to get it from
The original, yeah.
yeah, the original manufacturer. So that's why it's so late and so, oh, wow, here it is. So,
All right. And so yeah, as soon as we know anything, I'll definitely get back with you and let you know. So on to new business. First one up is resolution 279A. A resolution of the Toledo City Council permitting Police Chief Dwayne, let's see if I get it right, Garvey Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Use of an RV on private property for extended temporary time periods. I will accept,
Go ahead. I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution permitting Police Chief Dwayne Garvey Lawrence to use his RV on private property for some temporary time periods.
I will second that motion.
Alright, it has been moved and seconded. Do we have discussion beyond, can we correct the typo in the header? It's temporary.
No, it's supposed to be temporary.
It's a new,
Isn't that a song?
a new state code.
I don't know, can we throw the bum out?
No, we may not. No, one caught that a year ago. I'm starting to get the hang of this, I can tell you. All right,
Oh,
so,
temporary.
Yeah.
Say it.
okay,
Like tertiary.
do we, any other discussion on that, or are we good? Okay, I'll call to a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, correct? Thank you. All right, motion carries, so we will move on to the second, which is the TRJ planning contract renewal, that's, the contract with Todd Johnson for 2024. I will accept the motion.
Make a motion, we accept the contract renewal with TRJ and enable the mayor to sign such contract.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded, any discussion?
I have concerns that there's no limitation on the amount of time. So it's basically he sends a bill and we pay it.
It's fixed rate, this is the fixed rate contract.
Yeah, which I was gonna say needs to
We
be.
get about 300% more than we pay for on this contract. It's $2,000 a month.
Yeah,
Any of the other money any of the billing that comes in is all pass through money. So if he does work, or if we contract some other work, yeah, or planning reviews, which are paid for by the person who's going for the permit.
Yeah, that's all in that too.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yes.
cause I didn't even see the 2,000.
that's on my list, we needed somebody to.
Okay,
make
cause
an amendment
I
that
went
that's
through it
included.
and there was no 2,000 in there. And then there was a rate sheet at the end and it went
Oh,
Okay,
where's
so
the
how
fixed
many
part?
He doesn't.
persons is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, we need a motion.
We needed an amended motion, so.
I'll amend the motion that this gets approved with the $2,000 monthly stipend number.
I'll
And
second
I.
it.
So second it.
Oh,
It was silent too long.
Okay, so it has been moved and seconded a second time. Any further discussion on it?
I think this has worked out great for the city. It was fantastic last year. It's really good this year as we're taking on permitting and anytime these new odd permits show up as they are. It seems like the very first one with this weird insert for a fireplace that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
So that it's good that we have talked about this.
Okay, and so this rate sheet applies to ATOD. We want you to do this additional work.
That, or if he ends up doing,
Anything he does
Like-
with like Howard's Meadows or anything
Yeah.
like that,
so this sets his rates for that as well.
Yeah.
But those are all pass-through fees.
or like he's working with Kurt, he's looking over his, permit, so right away variances, anything like that. They fill them out, we send him over to Todd, any work that he does on, that's how he's billed, and they're also given a contract that says that they have to pay 15% markup.
And when I had talked with Todd about this, because originally that was my question, I was like, I don't see the 2,000 in here, and he was like, that is your fixed rate, I'm like, we need to
Yeah,
get that in there.
let's say it.
But it sounds like this rate sheet is his across the board, it's just included with the contract, it sounds like it's pretty generalized, and then they tailor it a little bit, but I think that's why that's in there,
Okay,
so,
just so we understand it's passed through.
yes.
Yep.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we will move on to resolution 278A. So, that is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Toledo, Washington, adopting the policy on work product as non-public record and the policy for use of generative AI in document generation. So I will accept a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 278A.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes.
Great.
All right, good. So first of all, I think we hire professionals for a reason. Let's see, AI defines trees. Let's see. Structure becomes an outline without purposes, let's see. One of the many difficulties in deploying machine learning systems is that AI is extremely susceptible to adversarial attacks. This means that malicious AI can target another AI and force it to make the wrong prediction or behave in a certain way. Many researchers have warned that against rolling out AI without appropriate security standards and defense mechanisms. Still, AI security remains an often overlooked topic in the political rhetoric of policymakers. Also, AI defines trees. The structures become an outline without purpose, dropping into ordered lists without purpose. And the green space is missing in later parts, among other incomplete distances or useful definitions, concepts like close proximity. In general, it fulfills the assessment that ChatGPT, it writes like a checked out 11th grader. Or a master of urban planning intern. So it would be an absolute mistake to apply this to a city. Which is why, in my belief, we hire professionals for a reason, and we should not rely on AI to feel like we know what we are doing.
There's a statement in here, responsibility for output, that users are responsible for ensuring the AI generated content is accurate, lawful, and free from discriminatory content. Users are responsible for proofreading and verifying the correctness of AI generated content. And the demonstration we saw last meeting of how quickly it can put some of the resolutions and things as an outline that then the clerk and the mayor can go through and and detail it and correct it more specifically. But it will save a lot of time and money for the city not to hire a professional at that point.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Once they've got what they consider a finished work product, maybe at that point, then they can have the attorney or a professional review it one more time, but it would take a lot less money at that point because it's already prepped. That's my feeling.
The bulk of those reviews or the bulk of those things that you spoke on.
They were some reviews and some of my own thoughts.
Okay, so I've heard some of them before. Those are for people who don't want AI to succeed, and the vast majority of them are obsolete. They're referring to when AI was very young, and it's.
Well, I think that AI can be useful, absolutely, and if it's used in the proper way, I think that it can be easily abused. And so to be very careful, and I think that is what I'm saying.
So you're familiar with the resolution as it was written,
Wow.
that where it speaks about that. I mean,
Training and awareness, prohibited uses.
we went to great effort to try to.
Yes,
to-
and well, geez, where was it? That part that actually really kind of, the part that got me was, where.
While you're looking for that was. Kathy, Jamie, do either of you have input on the AI?
I do. We watched the demonstration and it showed how it can save a whole lot of time. And I see no problem with that. I also see no problem with trusting that Rachel. I get
Throwing
the
it out
R's,
there, it's fine.
I get the R's mixed up. That Rachel will review the product and that you'll review the product. So if we're sending out official emails, for instance, somebody's gonna look at that and make sure we don't look stupid before we send it out. And I see no problem with it. I do see that there can be problems if you misuse it. And that's the whole point, is you're not gonna misuse it.
Well, yes, and this shows it as, the way that it reads is, basically it's giving us, like I said, it's giving us the template. And we have to go back through and read it. It's not like we're just gonna send it out, be like, okay, we hit the button, it's done and sent. Like that,
Yeah.
I mean, that, you don't do that ever with anything that you do.
So since our workshop, when we first talked about AI, it's now rolled into Microsoft Office 360. It's in the spreadsheet. So everything, it's in Excel, it's in Word. It's very much like when spell check came out, or Microsoft Word started trying to fix your grammar for you or do thesaurus suggestions for you, just that on in turbo mode.
Did you find it in one?
Yeah, it was the responsibility for output. Users are responsible for ensuring that AI generated content is accurate, lawful, and free from discriminatory content. So that means that we personally, as the city, will be responsible for ensuring that our content will be accurate, lawful, and free from discriminatory content.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely. It's still Rachel's.
and then it will go before a lawyer, and then
As we've done normally.
as we've said, as we've triple read it.
When
I
we
don't
choose
trust
that,
machines.
when we use that, right?
I mean, we still
Yeah,
have
when
found,
it's-
we've still found like, typos within ourselves here, so.
Kathy, you had something?
Yeah, I wouldn't allow that.
No, other than it is still our
Defines
responsibility if we're approving a resolution or an ordinance that we've used AI's help to
Mhm.
get it all, everything, but it's still our responsibility as a council member to approve that.
Yep.
And that's just our responsibility, whether it's produced by AI Rachel, Carly, or
Yeah.
Winlock's group.
Exactly.
Cindy and I have been working on a wrapper around ChatGPT that allows it to give, it has instructions that you pre-give it, and in those instructions, we've integrated a lot of what's in our own ordinance, which is that it won't be biased, it won't do malicious thing, it's not allowed to do malicious things. And at the bottom of every single thing it generates, it will remind the person it does that this content is just for you to take as and review, it's yours, that's not, yeah.
And then at the end of this year, I mean, the laws are being constantly written and rewritten, especially Washington too. Is at the head of this, at the forefront of laws. I mean, Inslee just came out with one. Or didn't he just said something about it? And it just came out in the news like last night or yesterday.
Is
So,
there a-
I
We
mean,
have in
it's-
here that we're going to be reviewing it regularly, I think it quarterly.
Well, it says quarterly, so.
Or as needed, so it,
We get emails every day from the MRSC on new laws that come out that affect
Yeah,
the city, and
okay.
I do read through those. so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Chief?
Yeah, is there a city of Toledo policy procedure regarding AI?
That's what we're working on.
That's the resolution that we're looking at.
Because it's coming.
Right,
There's
it's here.
there's no way around it, so to
It's
get
here.
ahead of the game now and get a grasp on it and tweak it to where we can use it to benefit us, we're gonna be ahead of the game. It's happening, you're not gonna stop it.
in some sample work that we
Yeah.
tested out with Rachel, it was taking a 2-3 hour task and finishing it for her in 5 minutes. And most of that 5 minutes was her interacting with it.
Yeah,
So do we have any other discussion as far as that goes in this? No?
Yeah, it's just common sense. I don't see any issues with common sense.
And the resolution has policies, it's very
It-
detailed.
it is.
And to me, it covers.
And
all that.
one
And if
sheet,
something goes haywire, we can just blame it on Rachel.
there you go.
well, and once Rachel loses her common sense, she's out.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and call it to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect, motion carries. So we will move on to the city clerk training request for Carly. Did everybody have a chance to look at what Carly you wrote up?
Yep.
Okay, Carly, did you want to speak to that?
Sure. So I was kind of just thinking as far as like the costs, I don't really want to stay in the overnight dorm. They said that we have to bring like a foam mattress and all this other stuff, which I don't have a foam mattress and it kind of seems a little bit uncomfortable to stay in a dorm anyways. So I found an Airbnb that was cheaper than a hotel that I'm kind of interested in, and that it's the registration cost, which is the $750, the Airbnb cost, the fuel and the food is the total cost that you see, which is $1,927.84. That's what I estimated not for, not the overnight package or the hotel. So, yeah.
Where do we sit on?
I know a lot of this is really gonna be teaching her the stuff that I've kind of learned throughout the year, linking by. I'm sure you guys have all had a chance to read through it, but it's gonna give her, the role of the clerk, record management. All of those things, she's probably gonna learn things that I honestly don't know. If it wasn't so expensive, I'd probably go with her, but I think really getting her into the position where she can take a lot of these tasks off of me, and there's team building, she's gonna meet other clerks, she'll meet people that she can reach out to. Hey, we're trying to come up with this ordinance, do you have a template, I've been able to do that. I think this is gonna be really good, and my suggestion, and I've kind of brought it up to Sherry, is okay, yeah.
So now that Carly's kind of given us an overview, I would accept a motion.
Well, first, I have a question. Does this blow up our budget?
Yes.
Okay. So I would be happy to make a motion that we send Carly to the Northwest Clerks Institute.
I will second that motion.
Perfect. Moved and seconded and discussion.
Will you take notes?
Well,
Oh, yes.
Yes, I will take that.
Okay.
And it's a real certification.
Yeah, it is,
So-
it's actual,
and I would assume that they're going to give her resources
yes,
when she goes to, so she'll bring those back to
Yes,
you
yeah.
and you can study.
yeah, exactly.
And this is a fantastic list of things on here.
Yeah,
It is.
it is.
And I know Rachel had mentioned, possibly since this is outside of the regular but line item, using ARPA funds to send her.
Yep.
Okay. You want to amend the motion? Use, or do we just transfer the ARPA? Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Perfect, motion carried. So we'll move on to our unfinished business. First one up is ordinance 798. An ordinance for the city of Toledo, Washington, vacating the right of way for the alley of parcel 006712001000 Kellogg Way. That is the Bushland Alley vacation.
I move that we accept ordinance 798 to vacate the alleyway on parcels 671200100.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
And just confirming it's not the entire alley, it's only 5 feet.
Yeah.
Because he won't let us use it this one. So it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any further discussion on it?
I have just a little further discussion. It seems like all the lines in town are off. And it seems like the city needs to do something to fix that. And it seems like we've got a lot of people that come in to ask the city to buy this piece or that piece of city property. And it seems like to me, instead of selling city property, which is unfair to their neighbor, who would then lose out on that easement, that we should, and then that would open us up to potential litigation for someone, I'm not saying this person, but someone in the future. It seems like we should find a workable solution for everyone involved in the future, that we should table this until that decision is made. I know we're at this point, but this is just my feeling. I think it's unfair.
You don't want to give the guy his 5 feet of. inside
I
of his-
think that it's
Go ahead,
unfair. I
sorry.
think it's unfair to,
Kathy?
In this case, the building is already sitting on the piece of property he wants to buy from the city. In this case, I do not think we need to go any further than to go ahead and motion second pass it.
Additionally, if that becomes a piece of his property, don't the easements still come into play?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
they're not erased or anything, they're still there.
And allows the property to be whole.
Yeah.
I mean, so that he can sell it. So he
And-
can use it.
It is, we're selling him a piece of city property. I mean,
Happens to be inside his building.
Yeah.
right, he's,
So we can't use it
He
anymore.
could charge his friends.
I think we should store things there.
and I would hesitate to try to do a broadleaf thing. This is only the second one I'm aware of in my time here. And each of them were different circumstances. And the last one, we had to make sure there wasn't any underground utilities or water and sewer and things like that. And I did that for this one too. So I think it still needs to be a per situation look at.
And I definitely do agree with Emily's, her information on the lines, because everything is off in this town, and it's almost like the entire town needs to be resurveyed, because it's.
I have a monument in the front of my house, because we had to do a survey when we redid the sidewalk, so, and that's only been 6 or 7, 8 years ago. 10 years. Time flies, but if you want to use that, it's.
Exactly. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
nay.
Motion carries. And last one is ordinance 797. I'm gonna do things a little bit different. I'll do copies of it. So this one is the ordinance granting Puget Sound Energy Incorporated, a Washington corporation, its successors, and assigns the right, privilege, authority, and franchise to set, erect, lay, construct, extend, support, attach, connect, maintain, repair, replace, enlarge, operate, and use facilities in, upon, over, under, along, across, and through the franchise area to provide for the transmission, distribution, and sale of gas for power, heat, light, and such other purposes for which gas may be used. So, I'll go ahead and accept a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 797 for Puget Sound Energy contract, second reading.
And can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so before we move on, PSE is actually here. So I was gonna let them kind of
Oh.
give a little bit of information on the most recent contract that they sent over and answer some questions, because I know you've got some questions for them.
I'm ready.
Yep, so.
I am Sarah Wattenberg. I am the municipal liaison manager for Lewis and Thurston counties, so I kind of act as the liaison between the county, the city, and PSE. So problems, I have cards and I would be happy to share them with you, but Christine actually would be a better point of contact for the county.
I'm Christine Rothbard, Government Affairs, representative. I've got Thurston and Lewis counties, and we wanted to come down here and make sure that all your questions were answered. And that you feel comfortable, and if you have any concerns, we're here to listen. I didn't think I'd ever been to Toledo. I'm relatively new to the position, but I think I went to a lavender festival. You just keep driving down. Yes, the summer when I'm driving down, it's so dark. I'm like, I've been here before. It was lovely, lovely. There was another cheese festival going on at the same time.
July.
Anyway, sorry. I digress. But it's great to be here.
Saturday in
Brighter in Cheeto. So with that, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for coming down.
Mine's easy. I'll go. Can I go first? Thank you for heating my house. I heat my house with gas.
Is it my turn
Go
now?
for it, Jamie. Go for it, Jamie.
Okay, this contract says 10 years. We approved 1-year contract on the January 2nd meeting. It's in the minutes. And we did that because we wanted to consider whether or not we were going to start charging fees for this. And one of Eric's points was, well, then it's going to be passed on to the consumer. I can tell you they're run as a corporation. That's called overhead. They're gonna wrap it into overhead and you're charged anyway. So that's not even an argument. What was the other thing? If you are objecting to this as a user, you should recuse yourselves from voting.
I don't mind what
because-
the cost is. I'm actually thinking about the rest of the residents.
But that was your argument.
No, I do use it.
Yes,
I want the
and
service.
your argument was you didn't want your fees to go up.
No, I don't want us to not approve it. I mean, in general, I don't want us to tell them to go away and not supply natural gas to the city of Toledo.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're not.
I'll
gonna do
recuse
that.
myself, that's fine.
I'm
Yeah.
also a user,
So we may lose a quarter
And
here pretty
love-
quick.
heat and water.
May I speak to the fees that you were talking about that you mentioned? So there actually is an RCW in place that states that towns and cities cannot charge a franchise fee. However, that said, you are absolutely entitled to any attorney fees or administrative fees as far as the negotiation and approval of the franchise goes. There is a situation in King County where a quote franchise rent was charged, but this RCW actually only allows for counties to charge that and not cities. So I don't know if that helps make a decision a little easier. I do have a copy of the RCW if you're interested in it. I'd be
Did we
happy to
incur
share it.
fees? Did we incur?
I don't
No.
Did you also want to talk about, I know we had discussed about the length of the contract and the ability to renegotiate, so I'll let you discuss that with her also.
So we asked originally for a 25-year contract. I totally understand where that's like, whoa, 25 years, that's a lot, and a lot can happen in 25 years. So we did go back and change it to 10 years with the possibility of 2 5-year extensions. Those are not set in stone. It's, you know, when we get to that 10-year mark, the city can then decide whether or not they want to extend it that additional 5 years or even additional 5 years after that. The other thing that's really nice about the franchise agreements is that we can all sit down at the table if something changes and we can all talk about it. It is not something that is not able to be amended later on down the road. So it's definitely kind of almost a living document without being totally a living document. There is, you know, the language is still contract, but it is something that is up for discussion if, you know, technology changes. I mean, we all know that with the technology as far as like battery storage, that's all changing very rapidly. So it's understood that there will be changes potentially and that negotiations might need to take place later on.
Sarah, could you read off the OCW number, please?
Sure, the RCW is 35.21.860.
Thank you.
AI just told me that, right? As you said it.
No city or town may impose a franchise fee or any other fee of whatever nature or description upon the light and power or gas distribution businesses as defined in RCW. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe
Okay.
216-10.
One of the reasons that we put this at a 1 year was so that we could have time to make considerations. If it's only a county that can charge these fees, we may want to go to Lewis County and say, are you considering charging fees?
And I think that's part of being able to renegotiate at any point. If we went to the county and they said yes, then we can call them and say, we need to sit down and discuss this. So it's very much like, it's a contract for X amount of years, but it's also very fluid as far as being able to work with them. We did discuss that. They did go to the lawyers. They tried to get it lower, that is as low as they could go. Yeah. That's why I said, well, I said, go ahead. They offered to come down because I knew that, you know, council, we were set for lower amounts and wanted them to come down and talk to everybody and answer the questions.
How many cities in Lewis County have franchise agreements with PSC?
We have Centralia, Chehalis, Winlock, Toledo's working on it. We have a franchise agreement with Jackson Prairie, so Lewis County itself for the water rights to serve our gas storage facility. So every jurisdiction that we serve gas to customers, and we have, even in Thurston County, we have a franchise agreement with all of them.
Thank you.
I'll just add, it takes a lot of time to sit here and do that and for the city clerk to go through, you know, bringing this forward, getting it approved, and it's just for efficiency's sake. You know, really is just about letting us come in and service the lines if necessary. So it's like, again, not set in stone, but happy to hear, you know, and try to really understand and answer your questions about the concern.
Well, again, my objection is the term, because I don't think we've had enough time to make considerations on it. And that's why I proposed a 1 year for it. And I will reiterate that that's still my feeling.
Do we have any further discussion on that? We'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
You actually have to approve this 10-year. Because we already approved 1 year contract.
It's written, I think we did that just now,
That would make it a first reading.
right? That would make it a first reading. We just approved it the first reading.
So I'll get it reread again and to yes.
So that only changes that this is then the first reading
Yeah,
because
it's a
of the
10-year
term.
contract. Yes. Did I get that? Oh. Did I get the all in favor?
Can you restate the motion, please? I'm sorry.
I make a motion that we approve
Oh.
797.
And I'll second.
I thought you wanted to reread the.
Oh, no, just a motion.
The opener around.
This one.
Could you have added more words to that? Yes.
All right, all those in favor
Aye.
and opposed?
Nay,
Motion carries. We will go ahead and move on to the other business. So it's like first is to set up the workshop date for February, which we have for February 20th. Does that work for everybody with the exception? 19th. The 19th is a holiday. Nice to meet you. Thanks guys for coming. Thank you.
Oh, is that why? No, we don't.
No, we're session next week.
We're good.
Everybody good with
We're good.
it?
I'm looking.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was gonna say, I wanted, I
It's a
thought you had
truth.
said that you thought you had something when we did it, when we discussed it during the workshop.
So the 20th is our next meeting also.
Yeah, we'll do the workshop before, just like we did the last time.
Okay, yeah.
4 o'clock still.
Yes.
Yeah,
4 o'clock.
yeah, 4 o'clock to 5:30.
Okay.
Yeah, so 4 to 5:30 and then we'll have a half an hour break before council.
On the 20th?
Yep, on the 20th.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, perfect.
You'll bring snacks?
No.
So also on the other business is our ordinance 799. And an ordinance amending section 635 through 6311 and section 711 of the Toledo Municipal Code to change the penalty for violations from criminal to civil.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 799, updating the codes 7-1 through 63-5 through 63-11.
I'll second that.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mhm.
I notice on page 3, I guess it would be, it's 633. You have, definitions for spay, for instance, but you don't have neuter. Do we not make?
No, so
What?
This is a very pinpoint change.
this, yeah, we're just looking to change.
So
From,
if I-
not the whole code, just.
If I may, real quick,
Yes, go ahead.
so to answer your question, Jamie, so that what we're asking is just to change it from criminal to civil, and the rest it just stays completely the same. The reason for that is the way it's written right now, if I go arrest somebody for a dog violation, they're looking up to a year in the jail.
Well, they're getting arrested instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting
For
mad.
somebody that's not listening with their dog. So the way it's written now is that I have to arrest them and put them in Lewis County Jail for like up to a year.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Not
pay for the prosecutor,
right, the revenue that we have right now.
For their
Just-
dog.
It's for everything, actually. It's for nearly
It would,
everything.
it would completely break our system as far as resources. It's just not gonna work.
Okay,
So we
so,
were moving to move it to a civil, so I can go approach that person and give them an infraction, right? For the penalty, the monetary, which the city gets back, hopefully, and say, hey, correct your behavior, this is what we're doing right now, and you have to correct your behavior, you have to go to a hearing in one lock court system, so that's what we're looking at.
okay, I fully agree with that. However, if we're addressing changing ordinances,
We're
shouldn't
gonna,
we address the whole
yes,
thing?
we have a bunch to address.
Yeah.
We're doing this for specific reasons.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm working on getting quotes to have someone come in and do the codification because all of this needs to be addressed.
That's a great.
So that's when the entire thing is gonna be addressed, but we're addressing this for a specific reason and it's kind of a time constraint because just because we update this ordinance, we have to have a second reading, it has to post, and then we have to send it to the AOC, who then has to put it in the system for them to be able to write infractions, and we have a lot of complaints coming in right now on dogs. And so we cannot do anything with that until this first step is done and all those other steps follow. So yeah.
Okay, so then can we put this on our next workshop
That's the.
and address it?
Yeah, 1977 is when it was written, so it does need to be.
But
We're doing the codification. There's, I mean, that's,
It's-
yeah, that's, we
That's
gotta
what
get,
company will do.
yeah, there's a company that's gonna do it. They're gonna get everything together for us and then we can start addressing it in chunks.
Mhm.
But if you wanna start looking, I mean, there's a lot.
Cause we couldn't go through and start
Updated
changing
the-
things in there without.
This
My
anyway.
cookbook is 590 pages long.
Yeah.
Ready, go.
I get that, but the last,
Yeah,
the last workshop we did, we addressed pieces of what Rachel wanted addressed. And now we have to go back to that policy again and address all of it.
Right, but you're,
And
because we're
that's
addressing the things that are
not
imperative
useful.
to our day-to-day function as a city, right? I couldn't I've hired 3 new people. I've got Carly, Taryn, and then another guy coming in. And our policy book was so contradicting, I couldn't do my job. So that's what we needed to address right then. There's a million things that need to be addressed with the way the city's run, but there's certain things that we have to address now. So that way the chief can do his job every day. That way we can handle complaints that come in. Because I mean, yes, does it need to say that it's spay and neutered and be defined? I'm sure it does, but that's not affecting the way he's able to do his job and the way we're handling complaints in the office.
So how about if we pick away at, well, we address what you need.
Well, my
and then-
stuff's, yeah,
And then we pick away at what
'Cause-
other people bring up, so.
But my
we're
point
gonna have
there
a lot of that
is,
anyway.
we addressed that policy, but only the pieces that she wanted addressed.
that I needed addressed in
And-
order
No,
to run
you
the
The
city.
mean,
entire
you mean all the
policy-
policies, you mean the
No.
policies?
No, she's
no.
talking about the whole
I
personnel
meant-
Oh, the
policy.
personnel
The
policy.
entire personnel policy should have been one chunk, one workshop.
Right, but I also told you if there's anything in there that you wanted addressed for you to send me an email and I would make sure to bring it to the next workshop. I haven't heard from anybody on what they want to see brought to the workshop. I brought this stuff to the workshop because I can't pay my employees the way that they're supposed to be paid because we have no policy. One policy says this, the other policy says that. So if anybody wants to see anything brought to the workshop, you guys just have to email me or Carly and we can have it put on the workshop. You know, but if we're gonna sit down and try to pick apart the whole personnel policy, we barely got through the 3 issues that I had in an hour. The whole policy book is gonna take us 6 hours and it's just gonna go around in circles. So we just need to start, yeah, exactly. We just need to start tackling the things that are affecting us day to day. There's a million things and they all need to be addressed 100%.
And also, like what you were saying about hers, that's policy versus our city code.
Right.
The code, yeah,
get
and the
that.
code, what I wanted to see for our workshops, if they want to see it. Before the codification comes, they're gonna need to know what we need to have changed.
Right.
That's why we're
should
doing
review-
these workshops, is
Yeah.
we'll start going through these. So essentially what's gonna happen is we're gonna pass this, or not, but hopefully pass this to change it from a criminal to a civil. And then we'll be able to address the verbiage in it at the workshops, and then when they come in to do the codification, that's when everything will get. Right, so this just tackles the way that they're being charged, so that we're not locking people up for their dog running loose.
And then the city's being charged a huge amount of
To
money
house
for
them.
all of that.
Does that-
It's almost not even,
Infraction.
it's almost not even worth going.
Yeah, that's
back.
pretty much it.
Just
in a
everything is,
nutshell,
yeah,
because
everything
it's-
is,
We have a lot of complaints about the dogs and I've got a whole file ready to go.
Yeah.
And I've got like multiple counts, like 11 counts. But I don't want to go arrest somebody on 11 counts of a criminal thing that's gonna break the city.
Yeah.
Change it to civil, then they can do the job, take care of the problem. And then, 1977 and 590 pages, like Cindy said, that's a lot of material to go through, so it does have to be addressed properly.
Yeah, all of
We
it,
do have,
definitely.
this is a good start. I mean, this is something that came up that we recognized right away.
I mean, it still says that we're meeting at 7 o'clock.
but Jamie, I agree with you, we have a lot of deferred maintenance in
Yeah.
our code book.
Big
And we have a
time.
lot of deferred maintenance in our policies and
Yeah,
our
I agree.
employee handbook.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
So
talking-
we
I
can't,
really agree too.
I mean, unless y'all want full-time jobs here for the next couple of months, we can get through it, but.
Well, you better start paying better.
Yeah, we're talking water beds and they're in code,
Yeah.
1977, long time ago.
We'll work for water.
Do we have any further discussion?
I make a move that we, I make a motion that we move on out of here.
We're not to that part yet.
No, we're not.
No.
What?
We're still on ordinance 791.
Oh, man.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion
Jerry, did you abstain? Did you abstain?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
No, but you should watch Eric because I never see him verbalize.
I do every time.
So I hear it.
I abstained from.
So do we have any public input tonight?
So one thing to add real quick. That I forgot to add. So on the 15th, I have a meeting with the school district superintendent for the school resource officer training position. Want me to come into the high school and talk, and I don't know if any members of the council or the mayor wants to come with me on that. But I think it's important that we address it properly and talk about what does a school resource officer look like? And, you know, what are the responsibilities? What are they gonna be doing in the schools? And we have to have the school superintendent agree to that. It'll be a memorandum of understanding, so it's gonna be a pretty good meeting.
When is the meeting
On the 15th,
time?
Kathy, you should go.
Definitely it's a mayor thing, but if council.
Wait, no.
Pardon?
so that will be on the 15th at 7 p.m.
I thought you were gonna say AM.
And the 15th
High
is
school.
what day?
Can they, we can have today.
It's a Wednesday.
I said it's a weekend.
I'm sorry,
It's
I'm sorry.
Thursday.
It's kind of in between, on my calendar, 6:30 to 7:30.
6:30. And that's on Thursday, the 15th.
Yes.
The day after Valentine's Day.
Okay,
What time?
yes.
Hey,
6:30.
6:30
I
PM?
would like to come to that meeting.
Okay,
with
hold
you.
on. Joe's got the floor.
So when Mr. Bushman came in and made an offer to buy that alley, did he say what his job was?
Say what?
Say what,
Did he tell you what his job is?
His job.
No, he did not.
He's a realtor. Which means he has to declare it. Apparently he didn't know.
No.
I don't know, it sounds straightforward. I don't know if that would be in the appraisal.
But someone provided me his number. I have no idea what that means, but.
Part of that though.
You need to declare that before you make any negotiations at all.
Okay, we'll make that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for bringing that to us.
Another thing,
Yes.
I noticed they're putting a fence up over here behind them. Whatever. Is that fence gonna obstruct the water sewer pipe or whatever?
No, we went down, myself went down, Eric went down, I took the owners over with us, we definitely addressed because of the lines. But they're making sure that the fence is up high enough that we can lift that off and access the meters, no problem.
And the fence is unboltable there at that corner,
Yeah.
in case we need full access to it. He didn't actually, Rick didn't actually want it to be there, but this guy putting the fence in apparently is OCD and didn't want to make the line, not straight there, you know?
I was doing there, so.
Yeah.
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 All right, no executive sessions. I will, thank you.
So I can motion we go.
I'll second you.
Great.
Okay,
Jamie, I don't have a lot,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
I don't have a lot for the next workshop, if you want to add something, you can add it from there.